What was that one break point in your life where you were completely shattered from within
We
and
only think about recovering from a failure emotionally, but recovering from success also is important. I didn't really expect 2001 downfall at that time.
Hello, I'm Sahil, and welcome to the Vault Spaces, an original podcast by the Vault Circle. This is a podcast where we bring ahead truth behind titles, get top corporate leaders take off their corporate mask and share the real human stories behind tough decisions. It's all about trust, honesty, and the leadership lessons you won't hear anywhere else. Let's get started. So, today we have with us a very special guest, someone who has decades of experience in leadership and responsibility, but tonight, it's not about roles or resumes, it's about the person behind them. I am talking about Mr. Mandar Gupte. He's the CEO at RainTree Family Office. Sir, welcome to the World Spaces. Please give a short introduction to anyone who is watching this podcast right now.
Thank you, Sahil, for having me on this podcast. Uh, I'm Mandar Gupte. Currently, I'm working as CEO of RainTree Family Office. My career spans from the time when I joined Godrej and Boyce in 1991 as their management trainee after I did my BE in computers and subsequently MBA in finance from Bombay University. So I worked with companies like Godrej and Boyce, Times of India Group, with Walchand Group for some time, and I spent quite reasonable time in the media entertainment business. So my first tenure with a media entertainment space was with BMG Crescendo, which was then a new joint venture between BMG of Germany and the Indian company Crescendo. And then subsequently more longer tenure with Universal Music India, which was almost for about 10 years. And subsequently, then I started my own, consulting business in 2016 for investment banking advisory, also for corporate finance advisory. Took some assignments of virtual CFO services as well. And while doing that, I also advised RainTree Family Office at that time as a external consultant. And about 3 years back, or 3.5 years back, I joined them as CEO. Currently, I'm handling RainTree Group finance as well. We have, apart from RainTree Family Office, we have RainTree Foundation in the group. So I'm handling both, as I'm in the dual capacity. I'm handling the investments with RainTree Family Office as well as corporate finance for the group. That's about me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for a wonderful introduction. So, I wanted to ask this one thing. I was also going through your experience. Of course, I've known you for quite some time now. So, why the shift? Like, why media for such a long time? Were you passionate about media as a space, or how is it?
Yeah, I mean, I was always passionate about this space, but it so happened that the opportunity came up when I was working with Times of India Group. And BMG Crescendo was a new joint venture, German joint venture that was formed around that time. And they were looking for a finance head. They already had some earlier finance and account team, which they wanted to be led by somebody new. And I took it up as an opportunity to work with a new company, taking up higher responsibilities at that time. And that came in, I mean, without intentional effort as such to get into this industry. It came up as an opportunity to work with corporate finance, more to say. And then I continued there for some time, for about 4.5 years. Then subsequently worked with .com industry. It was around the time when the .com industry was new in 2000. And then there was a huge fall in 2001 with a .com bust. So experienced all that. Uh, Worked with Percept Group for a short period of time. That's again media entertainment space. And then with Universal Music India. So I mean,
Got it.
the
So, during the
industry more
yeah,
keen to have me for a longer period of time than me continuing with the industry for a long time.
Fair. So during the dot com burst, where were you? Like you were in the dot com space only, right?
Yes. So I was there for about 4 years in Walchan Group. They had just launched three internet portals. One of them was cricketnext.com, which was quite a good success. And then there was a finance portal, and there was one more. I don't recall the third one, but there was a finance portal called moneypickle.com. Subsequently, they continued with cricketnext.com for a longer time, and they also had other businesses. So subsequently, they diversified into corporate training programs. Dale Carnegie, they did a franchise with Dale Carnegie and all. So, but dot com industry at that time was looking promising, and I thought that I should join this new wave. Didn't really expect 2001 downfall at that time, but that was another experience.
So during that downfall, what was your biggest learning from that downfall?
Yeah. So 2001 is when there were lots of issues with funding. We had one round of funding which was already done in 2000, and then the subsequent rounds of funding really got halted because of the overall dot com bust, coupled with the stock market crash and all that. So we really had tough time to continuing with the plans that we had in cricketnext.com and other portals. But the group had its own funds, own resources, which they supported it with. We did some little bit of financial engineering within the group to tide over the crisis, continue with the minimal costs. The cost control was the main issue at that time, so we had to run the cricket next portal with minimum cost, and at the same time keeping it out on top of popularity. So there was competition from ESPN.
So so you have a software engineering, computer engineering degree.
Right, and then I moved into finance when I did my
What
MBA.
what college, what engineering college are you from?
So I'm from Vivekanand Institute in Chembur, if you know about it.
Of course, I know about it. I wanted to get into that college, but then I overall dropped the plan of doing engineering.
Yeah, I was, I think, from their first batch that came out of Bombay University. So I was in the 1988 batch, and we were the first ones in that institute, second batch of Bombay University for computer engineering.
So why the career switch from like computer being an engineer and then jumping into finance?
Yeah, so I worked after doing my BE in computers. I was working for a software company, and I thought that my role was quite limited in terms of what I can contribute to the organization or what I can do. So I mean, I didn't want to continue doing coding and programming and all that. I thought that I should have some larger role to play, and rather than doing post graduation in the same field, I thought that MBA was the right choice to you know pursue further education. And within MBA, it was, I mean, finance was my most interesting subject rather than the other subjects, so chose finance purely out of my interest.
Great, amazing. So now that we're talking about your college and college days, so before having leadership roles and before taking such big decisions in life, how were you as a college kid? Were you like very curious, very silent, very rebellious? What was your
Not
personality like
rebellious.
when
I
you were in
was I
college?
was silent, but I was also participative in most of the things. I mean, my interest was quite strong in extracurricular activities like sports and dramatics and all that. I did everything I could do when I was in college. Represented college for cricket, represented college for some dramatic competitions. So did have a lot of extracurricular activities at my time. Uh, Studies was definitely I mean, I wouldn't say that I was very sincere and very studious, but had to do it because I had to complete my course. And it was a tough situation at that time, with only second batch doing that course in Bombay University, not too many faculty to teach those subjects. A lot of times we had to understand what the syllabus is, going to the university and copying it down from the university's pages. We had to put more efforts than what kids put efforts today to do engineering. I must say that.
So what roles were you doing? So when you say cricket, were you a batsman, bowler,
I was
all
a batsman.
rounder?
No, I was
And the
not an
same
all
about,
rounder.
so you were a
Uh,
batsman.
sorry. So I was a batsman.
So you
Sometimes
were a
I
batsman is what I'm asking.
yeah. Sometimes I did open the innings. I wouldn't say that I was very successful in cricket in terms of scoring big scores and all that, but played my part pretty well. I enjoyed playing. So, I mean, that was
And
more.
for dramatics, were you acting?
Yes, not too many plays, but did some acting in some plays. Did represent for some competitions when I was in college. In schools also, I did some dramatic, in acting. Even today, if somebody gives me a small role, I would be really happy to do it out of my own passion. But otherwise, never wanted to pursue it as a career.
Sure. So, sir, I wanted to start this podcast with asking you this one question. I've been speaking to a lot of my team members. Majority age group of our employees in the team is all Gen Zs, 22, 23 year old folks, and they don't complete their KPIs and they get disappointed a lot, no matter how
Okay.
much I try to motivate them. So for
Hmm.
you, have you ever had a time in your life where you had disappointed yourself, not professionally, but also personally, like because of something you did or something you were not
Hmm.
able to do? Were you like disappointed about something
Sorry.
that you did personally?
See, disappointments are always there. I mean, it's part and parcel of your life, right? So, some things don't go as per your expectations, you get disappointed. Some decisions that you make don't result in the outcome that you want, that disappoints you. There are, I mean, career decisions that you take at that time. Each time those decisions are taken after giving a thought and after understanding what the situation is and what you want to do, and you take those decisions. And if those don't turn out to be right in the longer run, or if they don't, there is nothing like right or wrong. Those decisions are always right when you take them, because you have thought about those decisions. But the outcomes, you sometimes feel that if you had taken the other decision or other route, that would have been better. But it really doesn't matter, because ultimately, where you have what path you have chosen, uh, and after you have put your efforts, if the outcome is not in your favor, then it's nothing to be disappointed about. You should not be so disappointed about. I mean, you should keep trying, you should keep working on it, you should keep finding new ways. So those who really feel disappointed, I would like to tell them that it's not end of the world. If you feel disappointed with something that you've done or not done,
So the ethos of this podcast is this only, that the human behind the title. Because
yeah,
when we look at it from an outer perspective and we look at you as a CEO of an organization and not as Mandar Gupte, we don't know you as a person. We always think that you guys are expected to be strong, you guys are expected to be tough, you guys are expected to be, those strict corporate bosses and run the organization. But the reason why we started this podcast is to understand you as a person. And I think now that you've talking about, spoken about how you deal with successes, how you deal with disappointments and failures, I think people will now start to understand, okay, it's not always easier, but there are still ways in which you can articulate your emotions. So having said that, I mean, now you meet so many people on a day-to-day basis. Like sometimes a lot of these folks that you meet, people who come to meet you, they meet you for the first time. So do you have anything that in mind, that how should someone feel after meeting you? Do you consciously, work on that how should someone feel after interacting with you? Not just what they learn, but about also what they feel after meeting you.
yeah. So generally, I feel, I mean, I expect the person to have comfort with me, uh, dealing with me for whatever they business or whatever engagement that they need to have with me. The person should have comfort that I'm someone whom they can rely on. I'm someone who's transparent, and that's the biggest message that should go across to someone who is meeting me for the first time. Also, I mean, it. it always helps to make the person comfortable to talk to me and listen to that person more than talking about myself or talking about our company or our our organization. It's people come to talk to you, and they want to understand you, as well as to put forward their whatever proposal they have come for, or whatever their views are. It's important to listen to them patiently. So that's what I try to do. I try to listen carefully. I also try to learn from them if I don't know a few things, and if they are more aware of those than me. So it's always, I mean, my intention is to learn more and more from people whom I meet, and try and give confidence to them to establish a good relationship.
Got it. Have you ever had a point in your life where you realized, or where you were feeling that I am not able to give enough time to my family, to my kids, and I am just stuck in work and I don't know what to do, like how to get out of this?
No, there are a few days in a year where you have to spend longer hours, but it's not that I had to do that throughout the year, ever in my life. So there were pressures, there were some late hours that I had to put in some, during some part of the years, or during some periods of the year. But that was manageable. I mean, it was not too bad. Uh, could manage that. The kids also, at that time, they were taken care by. Lucky for me that my parents also lived with me when my kids were small. So I mean, even if the parents were not there, the grandparents were always there with them. So we had that luxury to leave the kids with their grandparents. Yeah.
Got it. So how old are your kids now, sir? Both of them?
Oh, my daughter is 26 and my son is 22.
Oh, so now I think both of, at least your son is a Gen Z. How is it dealing with a Gen Z on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, he's now working. He's completed his engineering, and now he's working with a software company. And I mean, his lifestyle is completely different from mine. I mean, he has every day he goes to the gym, and then every weekend he has some plan or the other with friends. He travels a lot. I mean, I never traveled so much when I was young in my career. He has something or the other planned already. He just went for 9 days trip with his friends to Meghalaya. Now he's planning a trip to Japan in October. I mean, these kind of things were unheard of when we were young. We never went so often to various places.
How do you try to bridge that gap? You as a kid, you had certain type of
Yeah.
parent, certain way of living, and now when
Hmm.
you are a parent, there's a kid
Hmm.
who has a complete different lifestyle than you, and you are
Yeah.
constantly comparing, "Kare, when I was young, I never did this." So how
Yeah.
are you bridging that gap?
Yeah. So I mean, it's not that they're doing completely things which are completely wrong. I mean, they're taking care of themselves. They are, they know their responsibilities. They are not, I've made it, tried to explain it to him, the importance of saving and importance of investing and all. So he also takes interest in investing. So I know that he's not just spending money, but also trying to invest some money for himself. So that comfort is there, at least. So that, I mean, I don't really have much complaints. I just have concerns that he should take care of himself. That's the only thing that any parent would have. He should not, uh, you know, take undue risks. Go around on two wheelers late at night. So I try to tell him that, tell him my concerns. So that will continue. I mean, generations after generations, that is not going to change.
Fair. Amazing. So we've spoken about your family as well. I have been very curious to ask you this one question. What is that one moment in your life where you face a failure so bad that you almost lost confidence in yourself and you didn't feel like getting up and fighting the failures that you've had? What was that one break point in your life where you were completely shattered from within and professionally and personally both?
Uh, Honestly, I never came across such situation. I mean, maybe because I didn't look at the failures in that negative a manner, or I never left. I mean, never had any loss of hope. I always had confidence about myself that I have done my qualifications and my experience is good enough to grab the opportunity that comes my way in a way that it can tide over the crisis. uh, be it when I was working with the dot-com industry and there was a crisis, there were no salary increases, and it was a situation where it was a tough time personally for me also, because I had taken a housing loan, and then the salaries were slashed because the funding didn't come in. The group was struggling, but I knew for a fact that I'm able to manage within what resources I had at my hand. And at that time, I was the only earner in the family, in a sense. Like, my dad used to get his pension, but between me and my wife, I was the only earner in the family. But uh, I had that confidence that even me or my wife would tide over this crisis, and we will manage it for uh, and this time will change. One thing one should have clear in the mind, that the times keep changing. Nothing remains constant. You have to have the resilience to tide over the crisis, mentally as well as emotionally and financially. And the financial resilience can come with proper lifestyle of saving enough during the good times, and trying to be within your limits even when the times are good. Don't splurge money. These are the disciplines that you need to have, so that you don't really feel that your world is crashing down. I mean, you have to face ups and downs in your career, in your personal life, which you need to be aware and you need to be ready for. And nothing is going to remain cushy and comfortable throughout your life. So I'm now 59. I've seen life through different phases, and I've realized that there are phases in life where you have to have you have really tough time, and there is a major crisis situation at times which you have to face. But then the resilience is more important. How you mentally and financially keep yourself ready for that, that is more important.
Great. So now you've had such a long career.
Hmm.
I want to ask you, who are the three people in your career who have been mentors to you, or you would consider them mentors,
Yeah.
or you would always think of them that, okay, if this person wouldn't have been in my life, I think I wouldn't have been here.
Yeah. So, I mean, I really miss a good mentor in my early career. I mean, sometimes I feel that there should have been some good mentor that I should have connected with, or consciously tried to interact more on a regular basis, which would have probably shaped my career in a better way than what it was. Is my, I mean, there were some decisions taken in changing the jobs, or taking up certain jobs, which would have been better thought of if I had a good mentor. I feel that that I missed having a very good mentor. But at the same time, there were certain of my bosses, my peers, whom I would regard as those who influenced my thinking, those who influenced my way of working, my leadership style, all that. So there were some of my colleagues. One of them was my boss in Times of India Group. He was the finance head of the group as such, Bennett Coleman. His name was Mr. Balsubramanian. He was a very good mentor. He used to give advice from time to time, professional level, on the personal level. He was like a guru. So he was very, I would call him as one of my mentors. Then there were some colleagues in Godrej and Boyce when I worked there, who were also senior to me, uh, and so learnt a lot from them. in terms of how things work, how one should approach the problems and all that. So some early career guidance was from those professionals who were working with me in Gold Region Voice. Subsequently, when I was working with Universal Music, Rajat Kakkar, whom I mentioned earlier, working with him was a great pleasure. He was, his style of working, style of dealing with people was something I could, you know, try to learn from. I mean, these were the people whom I would look up to as those who mentored me, not consciously, but subconsciously. I tried to, learn from them, emulate them. So these were my mentors, I would say.
Got it. Do you have a lot of friends in your life, or is your
Oh,
circle
too
really
many friends.
small?
Too many friends. My wife gets fed up of my friends. So I mean, right
Ha-
from my
so what?
So I have my groups of my batchmates from my engineering college, my MBA college. Then I have some ex-colleagues who are still in touch with me. I mean, there is some thing or the other every other week meeting these friends. So I think at this age I'm more spoiled than a Gen Z person in terms of going out, having dinner and drinks with my friends.
What I just want to know, what do you guys talk to the most? Like, what do you guys talk about the most when you meet?
We most of the time goes in remembering old times and old funny situations, funny things, either in college or in in our offices. So most of the time goes in that, recalling old memories, uh, and then checking about some other colleagues, or what he's doing, what she's doing, what's going on with them. So nowadays, more talk about our children, what they're doing, what his children are doing. So typical oldies talk also goes on.
I don't think anyone who knows you professionally would guess this about you, that you were a fairly mischievous kid. So now, so people who know you professionally, what is that one thing about you that they will never be able to guess? Even if they have been working with you for like 4 or 5 years as colleagues, what is that
Hmm.
one thing about you that they'll never be able to guess?
Probably they may not know about my, uh, my hobbies, my past experiences, my past, education. Some of them may not know, but nothing that is so secret about me that people would not know. Yeah. I mean, there is nothing so great, so secret about me. Or anything which is
Got it.
yeah.
Fair. So we've spoken about a lot of things in this podcast.
Hmm.
One question while we are now wrapping this up is that you are a CEO of a successful family office. You've had a long career. You play so many roles, a role of a husband, a role of a parent. Uh, you have so many people in your team who consider you as your boss. All of these factors are there. But when at night, when the world goes silent, the world is quiet, who is Mandar Gupte? Who are you when there's no one watching you? Who are you inside your head?
um I'm a simple person who is not very flamboyant, who doesn't want any great things in life, but I just want happiness in life. I don't want, I'm not so fond of having big cars and big house and all that. My needs are very limited. I enjoy working, enjoy earning more. Definitely, uh, always ambitious to make good earning in my life. Try to maximize through my own investments, uh, but not running after or chasing money as such. I mean, I'm happy with a steady, good income that I keep getting, and whatever I've made for the family. So what I'm looking for or in future is a healthy and good life in future. Having good health and happiness in life is most important than anything else. And keep yourself modest in terms of your needs and wants. Be ambitious to achieve success, but don't chase chase money, or don't try to live beyond your means. That's most important. Don't borrow and spend money. No, be within your own limits. That's what I feel. And be happy with what you're doing. Try to find happiness. Try to meet people, go around, travel. I would like to travel and see more places. That would be more important to me.
Got it. If you had to describe yourself in one word, what would that word be?
In one word, modest or
And
humble.
why is this the word which describes you the best?
Because as I said, like uh, my ambitions are to prove myself rather than to chase any big things. So be modest in your behavior, be modest in your ambitions, be modest in your behavior with others, and in your work also. Be modest, be honest. That is my motto.
So that was supposed to be my last question. Any advice for whoever watching this? But I think you've beautifully summed it up. And if I had to sum up this podcast and my learnings, my biggest learning from this podcast is that from speaking to you, I understand that how much discipline matters to you. So I think being disciplined, being modest, and being humble, these would be the three biggest learnings of my life. I think these are your core qualities that you practice in your day-to-day life, and that has resulted into you being so successful and at the place where you are in your life right now. So I think thank you so much, Mandar sir, for talking about your journey, not just the roles that you've had, but also your human side, who you are as a person. And thank you for giving us all this beautiful learnings through this podcast. And I hope
Thank
whoever is watching this will thank you in the comments and they'll thank you for giving your time to us. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much,
thank you. It
Manoj.
was my pleasure. Yeah, thank you.